Hey there, money builders. I'm Andrew Meet Rich, and I've got something that's going to blow your mind today. Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors who ever lived, once said something that changed how I think about wealth forever. He said the first $100,000 is the absolute hardest money you'll ever make. And let me tell you, after going from drowning in debt to financial independence myself, I know he's right. But here's the crazy part. Once you hit that 100,000 mark, the next 100,000 comes way faster. Before you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, let me explain why this happens and how you can speed up this process to become wealthy years sooner than you think. Look, I get it. When I was struggling with money, barely making ends meet, the idea of having $100,000 felt like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. But here's what I discovered on my journey from financial disaster to freedom. There's actual science behind why that first 100,000 is so brutal. And once you understand this, everything changes. Many people who've built serious wealth will tell you the same thing. Whether it's your first 100,000 or your first million, that initial milestone feels impossible until suddenly it's not. Then boom, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. It's like watching dominoes fall, but in the best possible way. So why does it get easier? Let me break this down for you because understanding this concept literally changed my life. When you're starting out, you're doing all the heavy lifting. Every single dollar in your investment account came from your paycheck, your side hustle, your sacrifice. You're the engine pushing this financial train up the mountain. But here's where the magic happens. Once your money reaches a certain size, compound interest becomes your business partner. And let me tell you, compound interest works around the clock, weekends, holidays, even while you're sleeping. It never calls in sick, never takes a vacation. Here's a perfect example that'll make this crystal clear. When I first started investing, I put $5,000 into the market and earned a 10% return. You know what that gave me? $500. Now, don't get me wrong, $500 is nice, but it's not life-changing money. I could make that working a few extra hours at my old job. It felt like throwing pennies in a wishing well. But fast forward to when I had $100,000 invested. That same 10% return? $10,000. Now we're talking serious money. That's rent for several months, a nice vacation, or even better, more money to invest and accelerate the process. And here's where it gets really exciting. When you hit that $1 million mark, a 10% return gives you $100,000 in a single year. That's more than most people make at their full-time jobs. Can you imagine waking up and seeing your investments made more money than your salary? It's an incredible feeling, and I remember the exact moment I realized my money was working harder than I was. This is why people say once you reach 100,000, you can actually see your investments making progress. It's like watching a snowball roll down a hill. It starts small, but gravity takes over and it becomes unstoppable. But here's something even more powerful that happens. And this completely transformed my relationship with money. When your portfolio starts generating serious returns, you begin looking for ways to feed that machine faster. You start thinking differently about every purchase. That $100 dinner out? Suddenly you're calculating what that money could become if invested instead. Not because you're cheap, but because you understand opportunity cost. If I invest that $100 and it grows at 10% annually, that's $10 the first year, 11 the next, 12 the year after that. It's not about the single purchase. It's about building the habit of choosing wealth over instant gratification. Remember to smash that like button if this is making sense so far. Now here's where having money really starts opening doors you never knew existed. When you've got 100,000 saved up, you have options that someone living paycheck to paycheck simply doesn't have. Let's say you're making 50,000 a year at a steady job, but an opportunity comes up to make six figures in commission-based sales. If you need that steady paycheck to survive, you can't take the risk. But with savings backing you up, you can bet on yourself. Maybe you've always dreamed of starting a business, but never had the capital or safety net. That business could make you millions, but without money to fall back on, it remains just a dream. Or picture this. You find an incredible real estate deal, a house way below market value, but you need to move fast and take some risk. When you have money saved, these become opportunities instead of impossibilities. While it's not always smart to cash out your investments, having that option means you can act when life-changing opportunities appear. Someone with only a few $100s saved is completely limited in what they can do. They're playing defense instead of offense. And here's another game changer. When you have substantial money invested, you can afford to take calculated risks with a portion of it. See potential in a hot stock? You can speculate with extra money without risking your financial future. So, how do you speed up getting to that magical 100,000 milestone? Since most of this money is going to come from your personal contributions rather than investment returns, you need to focus on increasing how much you're saving. This means two things: make more money and spend less money. Sounds simple, right? But execution is everything. Consider getting a weekend job or working a couple nights per week, with every penny from that extra work going straight to savings. Start a side business that brings in additional income. I've seen people do everything from freelance writing to selling products online to driving for rideshare companies. But here's the other side of the equation: watching your spending like a hawk, at least temporarily. Do you really need that $100 dinner every weekend? Or could you save that for special occasions and cook amazing meals at home instead? Remember, this penny pinching phase is temporary. Once you hit your goal, you can ease up a bit. But those car payments, those will kill your wealth building dreams faster than anything else. I've seen so many people stuck in the financial mud because they're paying $600, $700, even $1,000 a month for cars they don't really need. That money could be building your future instead of making the bank rich. Here's what's beautiful about this process. Once you get comfortable with saving and investing, it becomes second nature. By the time you reach that substantial amount, you're used to finding ways to earn extra money and funnel it into savings. You're used to being intentional with purchases, really thinking about whether something is necessary or if that money would work harder in your investment account. You become comfortable taking calculated risks and investing through different market cycles. You might even learn to take advantage of market downturns, buying when others are selling in panic. And according to Charlie Munger, once you hit that 100,000 mark, you can let off the gas a little. The next milestone might be $1 million, but here's the beautiful part. It becomes easier because compound interest is doing most of the heavy lifting instead of your paycheck. Your money is literally making money while you sleep, while you work, while you're living your life. Next time you're feeling frustrated about how slowly your net worth is growing, remember this: it gets easier, more enjoyable, and more rewarding as time goes on. The mountain you're climbing has a peak, and once you reach it, the view changes everything.